Hey guys, it's Will. Today we're going to be going over KULR stock. Now, do you think AMD will hit $160 by March 20th? Because if you do, StockMate is risk-free. That's right, guys. Our current sale, it gives you StockMate for free if AMD hits 160 bucks a share. So I'm betting big on AMD and their partnership with SpaceX, and StockMate's in that second link in the description down below. You can choose a quarterly subscription, or we have a one-time payment for lifetime access. Now let's dive into KULR stock today. So KULR stock has been on an absolute tear basically into December. We saw that it was kind of selling off from beginning of December into about December 15th. But ever since December 15th, it's gone from $1 a share up to what was $5.60 a share. So to kind of put that in perspective and really look at what that margin for profit was, if you bought literally less than a month ago, just 2 weeks ago, that would have been, if you sold at the peak, almost a 4x on your money. So right now it's about a 3x, and that's just on the 11-day time frame. So you might look at KULR stock and you might say, wow, that looks like it is way too volatile for me. It looks like it's going to sell off right now, and we could even, maybe even draw this trend line up to where it really started to bull up from here. And you might say, oh, it looks like it's going to sell back down to maybe this moving average, maybe down here. There is a good chance that that could happen, especially because, as you guys might notice, like every day at market open, a lot of these stocks, they sell off. Let's look for any dip like before a rally, and you could almost always see that there is this sell-off at the beginning of the day. And the reason I say that, so from here, market open 629, sold down to 640 before absolutely bowling up. Let's see the next day. Is that 630s? What was that right here? No, right here. Is that right? Yeah, so 630 bull down before pushing up. Then it sold off, and it has been selling off ever since. But if I go back really like a lot, there's a lot of days where it, like this is at 6:30 in the morning. It sold down to $2 before during that day pushing up to like over $3 a share. So, you see that quite a bit, and it's common across all the markets. You guys might have heard of the 20-minute trading strategy or something like that. It's quite common. Now, I don't say that that is the only solution you need. Some people say you only need the 20-minute trade. It doesn't work like that. There's an analysis we go through, but we'll get to that analysis. But the reason I say that is starting a new year means that you're going to see things like that. A lot of times we see people selling because they want to write off their taxes, so they sell their losers in the S&P. A lot of times, at the beginning of the year, we could see some sell-offs. Just like right after Christmas, we could see push-ups. It's oftentimes, if you look at history, more bullish. So does that mean 100% we're going to see the sell down of this trend line right before or at the end of the year? No, I'm not saying that, but this support here is kind of the next level, which is $4.30. And if it breaks that, then absolutely we could see it sell down to this previous resistance, right? So when we're in a bull run of any kind, previous resistance will act as support. We could see it sell down to here. It wouldn't be crazy. However, if it's really, really bullish and we really see it just push up to $10, $15, something like that, then right now it's holding this level. You could see this previous resistance that is right there. It's kind of holding that level of where it's been consolidating. And the extreme bull case would be that it is going to continue up. I think what we're going to see here is potentially a sell-off down to this previous resistance that we see, and that would be around $3.50. And that would just make a lot more sense if it's like a sustainable, healthy, consistent uptrend. That would make sense. Now, if it's, again, extremely bullish, this is a pullback before it continues up. But, you have to ask, how sustainable? Can it go straight up all the way through the end of the year 2025? It's possible. What's more likely to happen in my eyes, to pull down to this previous resistance that we see right here at $3.50. So that's what I'm looking at for KULR stock on the technical side of things. It's pretty simple. See it absolutely jet up, It looks a little overextended. Most likely will sell off a little bit before continuing up. Now you might say, well, how do you know it's going to continue up? Well, there's some analysis that we can look through, and that is kind of based on the chart for sure. What we see with the chart is that it's gaining momentum, getting more volume. But the main thing that I'm looking at is their partnerships. We can look at their partnerships in depth and really see tremendous growth. But we can also, before we even get into the Navy contract, the SpaceX, the Army, and all that, their financials are looking better year over year. And that's something you like to see. I mean, we can look at December into March. You see they're missing earnings, they're missing their revenue. And then, the last few quarters, they're seeing that they're beating the revenue, they're beating their earnings per share, and the revenue is increasing year over year. Their net income is only negative 2 million, which isn't too bad for these technologically. They build hardware and they're starting to grow, and they're building technologies for these huge contracts that they've recently obtained. That's percentage wise looks good, but the dollar amount isn't too concerning. Net profit margins up 65%, operating income up 66% year over year, net in cash 31%. They are burning through cash a little bit, and I'd like to see their cash on hand to really get an idea. And maybe that means I have to actually go even deeper into their financials to see that metric. I don't know why it's not appearing there. I don't know, normally does. But other than that, financials are looking fairly healthy. They're looking okay. I wouldn't say amazing, but they're definitely showing signs of growth. And that brings us into what is their news. And a lot of it right now is something, and you guys know, we don't click on these stories where they say, is it a buy, is it a sell, is it a hold? Look at this, it's jetting up. Everybody needs to know this stock. We don't look at these articles because what we actually want to see is what is the underlying catalyst that is growing this company. And there's a few things that just happened, like this Bitcoin, but there's a few things they've already been doing. And so, like, for example, you could look at, if we look at SpaceX, KULR stock, SpaceX. And maybe I don't even need to say actually SpaceX, but you could say KULR right here has announced its plans to launch its KULR 1 space battery via SpaceX rideshare mission in 2026. So almost every company that we've seen, every single company we've seen partner with SpaceX in some way, shape, or form for hardware, things like that, has absolutely soared. One of the notable ones that was T-Mobile, after partnering with Starlink to get that access to the satellites, absolutely rocketed hundreds of percentage points. Now, AMD just recently partnered with SpaceX to provide the microchips for the satellites, which is why you should check out StockMe down below, because AMD stock right now goes to $160 a share. With our current sale that's open, you will get a full refund on StockMe when you enroll right now. So look forward to that. Look forward to giving some refunds and also crushing it on my AMD position. And it's calculated. So that's some news. So SpaceX, big partnership to be saying that, hey, they're working with SpaceX and they have the ability to make tech that's valued by these other big companies. So you could say SpaceX, they're working with the Navy, they're working with the Army, they're working with the Department of Defense, and they're also working in what I think is one of the biggest. I live out right now where I'm living in this part of California. I was just traveling. I was in Argentina, I was in Miami for a little bit. Right now I'm in California. There's trees everywhere. It's very beautiful, and it's hard to maybe like walk on this terrain. So when I think about things like AI, and I think about robots, and you think about just recently OpenAI, there was this guy that shared that he was very concerned about AI and the safety for people, and how AI was able to make train its own data sets without telling the operator, train its own data sets and only provide information that's different than what it could trade. So this guy came out. He ended up, quote unquote, I guess a week or two after sharing this, a former OpenAI employee He passed away from, quote, suicide, from offing himself, unliving himself. And, you know, he seemed very passionate about what he was doing. You have to ask yourself, what is AI tech coming to? And is there serious concerns for safety? And if there is serious concerns, what technologies, well, robots could be good, but I don't see them coming out in this forest. I think it's going to be pretty dang hard for them to come out here and get me, or, there's things like that. But also, it's like drones, on the other hand, the drones have the advantage. So I'd like to know how to combat against that. And one thing is, this company actually specializes in helping some drone company. And there's this other drone company called RCAT, which we'll be going into shortly, which is an up and coming AI tech drone company. But if we look at this, I want to find the actual thing, because what it was that they partnered with, was it's Aero Tech or something like that. That basically KULR stock drone KULR stock has thermal carbon composite material for batteries, for tech, like for their battery systems at the cellular level. They work on batteries. That's why they're working with SpaceX, because those temperature, the carbon will be able to withstand temperatures. But actually, what we're seeing is that they had recently partnered with a company to provide technology that will impact the drone industry. And I don't know exactly if we can find the article here. I don't exactly remember exactly what it was called. I think it was called like can't quite find. Oh, there we go. There we go. We found it. All right. So, Israeli firm to offer vibration reduction technology for military helicopters. So we've just went over this. Basically, they're allowing, they have AI tech that is going to reduce vibrations. This is a problem that was previously diagnosed as unsolvable and caused retirements of many aircrafts. But basically, software that is AI operated, that stops extreme cases of excess vibrations causing catastrophic damage to drones, helicopters, reducing mechanical fatigue that leads to system malfunctions. So basically, they created AI algorithms that can identify and locate vibrations in airborne systems, which is going to be huge for big scale drones, small scale drones, big VTOLs and large aircrafts and things like that, which is a tremendous technology that hasn't yet existed. There it is, Para0. It's what it called, safe air onboard solutions. So, you have a lot of great partnerships. The news looks good. The financials still looking good. I haven't seen any news that has come out that looks concerning. And so usually you look for those things. The thing that some people were concerned about was that they were buying Bitcoin, right? And they were saying, hey, we're going to put 90% of our surplus cash into Bitcoin as a part of our Bitcoin treasury strategy. Now, if you're like me, you think this is a great move and you say, awesome, let's do it. This is something I want to see a company do, and it's a smart thing to do. If you're like me and that's how you see it. Some of you might say, wow, what a risk. It's just playing on politics. It's just playing on the hype of crypto, which, yes, that will fuel a stock, and yes, that does play a factor, but I don't think what we know is true is that if you have been holding US dollars, say 1,000 or enough to buy a house, okay, and you've been holding that for 5 years, and you were holding Bitcoin enough to buy a house 5 years ago, Bitcoin, it is 94% easier, or put it this way, if you're holding cash, it's 94% harder to buy a house today than it was if you held Bitcoin. In other words, the purchasing power Bitcoin has been increasing and the US dollar has been depreciating, and it does depreciate. You guys see the inflation year over year, 5%, 10%. And so I'm someone that is saying, yeah, I want to put my money in Bitcoin. I do think it's the long-term strategy And one time I got to talk with the CEO of Invisalign, which is a company that's was innovative in the early 2015s, and I got to speak at an event there. And one thing that he said that really stuck with me is he said, digital will always win. The more digital you go. Invisalign was, playing that, but he used the refrigerator as an example. People didn't want to switch from their ice box that they have to replace the ice every single day into the refrigerator. People don't want to switch from fiat money to Bitcoin because they want to continue to rely on a government or someone else do it. And basically, KULR Technology, they see that. They're saying, hey, we want to invest in something that is decentralized, that isn't going to be controlled by the government, and that's going to give us that appreciation. And so there's other companies like MicroStrategy we've seen Tesla buy a considerable amount of Bitcoin. So, those are things that personally I see as, hey, all power to the company. Some of you guys will say I'm selling because of that's what they're doing with their cash. Some of you guys say I'm going to keep buying. Yeah, that's the way that I see it. Is I would see it as a positive news article for KULR stock. And that was the only big news we saw come out in the last 3 days. The rest of it is kind of hype, which could be good for you in the near term. It looks like extreme bull cases that pulled back, bounced on this EMA, and it's going to continue up. What's more likely to happen is that we'll see it touch this previous resistance here and sell off a little bit more, maybe into January, before having the ability to keep that trend consistent and continue up. However, of course, with the stock that's such a low market cap, we could see it potentially push up right now, and that was the pullback. So that's something to consider. Personally, I won't be buying right at this moment. So something to consider is if it does sell off at market open, let's say on Monday, that could be an opportunity that presents itself and we'll be looking for inside of our StockMate community. So make sure, again, guys, if you want to watch me trade live at market open, get access to technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and also options trading in crypto and how I do it, but also surround yourself with traders and investors, then I encourage you guys, definitely check out the second link down below for StockMate. We have a sale until the end of the year. And then on top of that, we have the AMD sale. So if AMD hits $160, right now the sale is, if you purchase in this time frame that we have the sale available, if AMD hits $160 by March 20th, you will get a full refund on StockMate, which I'm really excited to offer to you guys. So hopefully I earned your thumbs up. Do consider subscribing. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.